Hi, thanks for joining me for another Cricut tutorial. Today we're going to make this super cute oven mitt with our Cricut Maker. The first thing you need to do is download the SVG pattern that I have provided for you in the description below this video. You're going to download that. It's a Dropbox link. You don't have to have Dropbox to download the file. You're just going to click in the upper right corner of Dropbox and click download and save that SVG file. Just a little side note, this is a pattern that I drew by tracing my own hand. It is not anyone's pattern that has been duplicated or replicated in any way. So let's move over to Design Space, and the first thing we need to do is click on New Project. We're going to click on Upload. You're going to click on Upload Image, and you can see right here, if you're working with an SVG file, this is the button that you want. So we're going to click Upload. We're going to Browse, and you're going to navigate to where you saved the file called ovenmitt1_lori.svg. Here you want to tag your file. I'm going to call it Oven Mitt Hot Pad, and I'm going to put my name in just so I can remember that that is my file, and click Save. It should show up right here as your first image in your recently uploaded images. You're just going to click on it until you get that green box all the way around and click Insert Images. Okay, now I made this oven mitt, as I said, by tracing my own hand. I have very long fingers, so this should fit most everybody. But if you feel the need to resize it, I would suggest you go ahead and resize it now. You can resize it by clicking and dragging on the corner. You want to make sure and resize it proportionately. Once you have resized it the way you want it, you want to go over here to the Layers panel, and on the very bottom layer, you're going to see a layer that has some text on it. You just want to click on the eyeball, and that will turn off the name of the file and my name so that you're not cutting those out. And that's it. That's all you need for this file. You're just going to click Make It, and you're going to see you're going to need a 12 by 24 mat. That's what this blue bar up here is telling us. We're just going to click OK, and it's going to cut 1 mitt per mat. Now it is just slightly over 12 inches, so that if you wanted to cut it on a 12-inch mat, just go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. So you're going to cut out 2 pieces of insulprin, you're going to cut out 2 pieces of your outer fabric, and you're going to cut out 2 pieces of your lining fabric. Let's hit continue. And just like in my cast iron skillet handle pot holder, I wanted to show you, click View All, search in all materials and type in insulprin, and Cricut has already set up the perfect setting for you to cut your batting with. So go ahead and cut those out, and I'll show you how to put this together. Okay, so you should have your 2 lining pieces with the thumbs in the opposite directions. Might look better like that. So those are your lining pieces. We're going to set those aside. You should have 2 outer pieces with the thumbs in the same direction. I've already clipped this one together, but all you're going to do is take a piece of your insulprin and layer your outer fabric pretty side up on top of the insulprin and clip around it. Okay, once you have both of your pieces clipped around the outer edges, this is where the real fun starts. You get to do a little bit of quilting, and I am not a quilter. I don't profess to be a quilter, but you get to do whatever you want. You can just run random stitches all the way across. You can go into stripes. You could do diagonals. You could do cross diagonals. You can follow the pattern that's on your fabric. Whatever you want to do, I'm just going to do some real random stitching. And I'm going to set my machine on a straight stitch, and I'm going to increase the stitch length to, I'm going to do 3.0, and you can use a corresponding thread, or you can use an accent thread, whatever makes you happy. This is your oven mitt, so do what you want. I'm going to put a blue thread on this. I just thought it would be a little bit of fun, and so I'm going to go ahead and just do some random stitches across, and all I'm doing is getting the fabric to stick to the batting. And I'm just going to do straight lines, all random. Once you have completed your first one, go ahead and do your second one. You can see my lines are totally random. If you look at it from the back side, all I'm doing is securing that down and creating a, I think the more random it is, the less it has to be perfect. And since I am not a quilter, I'm not interested in being perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second mitt. Okay, now I have finished quilting both of my mitts. What I want to do next is pin them right sides together. So the pretty sides are together, the insulprin sides are out. I want to line those up. And we're going to again go ahead and pin around the edges. Okay, once you have it all clipped, you're going to go ahead and sew right along the edge, and I would use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When you get to this bend right here, you want to leave a little bit more room because we're going to clip into that so that the thumb moves freely. So you might want to make that more of a 1/2 inch, and then go ahead and sew all the way around to the end, leaving the bottom of the mitt open. Okay, so I have sewn all the way around the edge. You can see I left a little bit in here, all the way around the thumb, and the bottom is open. Next thing we want to do is take our scissors. The next thing you want to do is take your scissors, and if you have a large seam allowance like this in certain areas, let's go ahead and trim that off, and then go right into this area and go ahead and clip up to your sewing lines, and that's just going to allow the thumb to move a little more freely in that corner. Okay, now we need our lining pieces. We're going to set that aside. Take our lining pieces and we're going to put those pretty sides together. We're going to do the same thing, except for this time we're going to leave an opening, and I suggest leaving it on this long end, and I'm going to mark that with a couple of pins just to remind me not to sew in that area. And you want to make it big enough that you can turn this oven mitt right side out. So that's probably bigger than I need. I can make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and sew up to the pin, back stitch, cut your thread, sew at the pin, back stitch, and go all the way back around again. Same thing around the curve of the thumb, back around the edge, and back stitch at the end. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see I've sewn all the way around my lining. I've left an opening right here and back stitched at the beginning and ending of the openings. You're going to do the exact same thing here. You want to clip into and up to those seams in the thumb. You can even cut that little V out so that the thumb moves freely, and cut any excess fabric. Don't get too close to your stitches. You want them to stay in there. Now we're going to take our quilted piece and we're going to turn it right side out. Once you've got that one turned out, you're going to put your hand in it. Make sure you've got that thumb all the way poked out. You might want to use a chopstick or something to stick in there. Once you have that all the way turned right side out, you're going to reach inside the lining fabric, which is the wrong sides are out, and you're going to work your way into that lining just like this. And making sure that your side seams line up with the inside piece right here. I'm going to open that seam, or you can press one seam this way and one seam this way, whichever works for you. And I'm going to clip it right there to make sure that stays lined up. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Put one seam one way, one seam the other way, make sure they're lined up. And clip. Then I'm going to add a couple more clips, making sure that that fabric is pulled all the way up. Now you're going to take this over to the sewing machine and you're going to sew all the way around the top. I find it easiest to sew on the bottom layer and just rotate it. So let me move this over. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not. I've moved my stitch back down to a 2.5, and I'm using the width of my presser foot. I'm going to start and back stitch and go all the way around, rotating both pieces of fabric as I go. This is very similar to the stocking that we made. Same concept. Just keep working your way around. And when you get back to your final stitch, you can take a couple stitches backwards just to lock that in. Cut your thread. And we are basically almost done. You're going to go to your opening and you're going to pull the mitt out of there. Just be gentle. And you're going to turn this right side out. And again, you might want to use a chopstick or something to reach into this hole, make sure that all your seams are pushed all the way out. So you should have something that looks like this. Don't worry, it's going to work, I promise. You're going to, I would suggest taking it over to your iron and pressing. And when you press it, you want to take these raw edges and make sure they are pushed inside towards the inside of the hole and press it down just like this. So let me press this and I'll be right back. Okay, you can see I have pressed this so it's laying nicely. There is my opening. I'm just going to take that over to the sewing machine and sew right along that opening to close that up. This will be on the inside of the oven mitt. Nobody's going to see it, so I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just going to sew right along that edge. You can see I've closed that hole. I want to trim any threads. And now you're going to stuff that lining back down into the oven mitt and work the thumb into place. Takes a little bit of maneuvering. Once you have that in place, you're basically done. If you want, I would take it over to the, just to give it a little more of a fun look and a finished look, I pull my lining out just a hair. Because if you're quilting on the outside, your lining is slightly bigger anyway. So once I get it nice and smooth on the inside to where it feels good, I kind of pull it out. And then you have this fun little 1/4 inch or so finish on the edge. You can run a stitch right along there, which that's what I'm going to do, just to give it a finished look. So that's our finished oven mitt. You can see I went ahead and sewed around the top edge just to give that a little bit more of a finished edge and to hold that lining in place just the way I want it. You can always add lots of embellishments to the front of this. You could add bows, ribbons, any kind of rickrack. I would add them before you sew the outer pieces together. I hope you enjoyed this project. I think this oven mitt paired with the skillet handle pot holder would make a really cute gift set for just about anybody, wedding showers or just a friend, a neighbor gift, all kinds of presents. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.